Grand afternoon. Hi, my name is Leonard Munson, the psychic astrologer. My website is readingsbyleonardtmunson.net. Please don't say quiet part out loud. On November the 9th, Mercury spins retrograde in boisterous Sagittarius, flashing a cold red blunt alert. This 3-week cycle lasts until November the 29th. But before Mercury moves back into Scorpio on the 18th, honesty can be particularly brutal, smashing relationship to smithers. Just being helpful. You don't want to spend the early part of this holiday season estranged from your nearest and dearest. Think twice about doling out unsolicited advice, even if you are just trying to be helpful. Candid viewpoints flies, especially in the charged political climate. For the next few weeks, or at least while Mercury's backing through Sealess Sagittarius, November the 9th to the 18th, plan any opinion post thoughtfully so that your messages don't get lost in translation. What ideas do you stand for? It may be more powerful to shout those from the FYP than to battle senseless trolls in the comments. Mercury retrograde at the Thanksgiving table. Visiting loved ones for the Thanksgiving holiday might require extra precautions during this argumentative time. If you need to cut a trip short or stay at a hotel to preserve the peace on the side of personal space, leave early for the airport. Double check all reservations since this last Mercury of 2025 can be particularly disruptive of travel. Sagittarius rules the 9th house of travel. Cat and mouse games will go crazy when Mercury slips back into manipulative Scorpio from November 18th to the 29th, completing the last Mercury retrograde of 2025. This sign switch up brings relief from fiery fuse caused by the messenger planet taking a U-turn in Sagittarius on November the 9th. But for the 11 days it slicks through into Scorpio, life could feel like an extended game of Clue. Prepare to pass those loyalty tests. Trust is a must, with Mercury revising through suspicious Scorpio, and don't expect anyone to extend the benefit of the doubt. Slow and prove and pledge your allegiance if you want the keys to anyone's kingdom. Before a horoscope for every zodiac sign for the last Mercury retrograde of 2025 in Sagittarius from November the 9th to the 18th and Scorpio November the 18th to the 29th. You can read for your sun sign or your rising sign. Remember, your scope is not just for the dates of Mercury retrograde, but for the 2 weeks before, after the shadow periods. Aries. Restless Mercury turns retrograde in Sagittarius and your whirling 9th house on November the 9th. You could wake up feeling nice, nostalgic for a favorite vacation spot. Scroll through old photos and peek at ticket prices, which might be affordable enough to splurge on. If you are journeying to a new destination before November the 29th, however, be aware Mercury retrogrades info scrambling influence. Book with multiple outlets and triple confirm all reservation. Cannot get away. When you are feeling fenced in, hit the hiking trail or sign up for a workshop. But watch your own possessive tendencies, which may flare up when Mercury spins back into Scorpio and your intensely intimate 8th house starting November the 18th. Aries horoscope, read more. Taurus. Communicate till Mercury spins into a 3-week retrograde on November the 9th, backing up those Sagittarius and your 8th house of intimacy until November the 18th. Then rounding out the reverse commute in Scorpio, your 7th house of partnership zone until November the 29th. Warning, the green eye mindset go however, and your psyche during the last Mercury retrograde of 2025. Carefully not to let your suspicious mind run wild. Your deep-seated fears may be rooted in something, but that something could be your own issues with trust, vulnerability, and self-worth. If a partner in crime is not contributing, insist they step up and don't reach deep into your wallet to cover for them. On the plus side, you may discover clever ways to join forces with people who are already in your world. Gemini, your ruler systematically, Mercury goes retrograde backward in Sagittarius, your seventh house of relationships, on November the 9th, illuminating partners in crime who are already in your pack. Or you may realize that dynamics are growing lopsided with a significant other, work BFF, or close friend. Handle talks and negotiations with care, because Mercury backspin can make people say things they later regret. Since retrogrades bring back the past, an old flame could resurface. Could the second time around be the charm? Be cautious, optimistic, as you won't know clearly for a few weeks. On November 18th, Mercury will slip back into Scorpio, your systematic sixth house, before correcting courses on the 29th. Whatever qualifies as unhealthy at that point, from food to relationships, needs to be scrutinized and potentially avoided at all costs. Cancer. Nitpicking Mercury turns retrograde on November the 9th, kicking things off in your precise, practical sixth house. Cutting corners just to meet a deadline is a huge no-no between now and November the 29th, especially with the messenger planet retreats through Sagittarius into November the 18th. Other people are relying on you, so skip the shortcuts and do the job right the first time around. A health issue could also demand your attention during the first Mercury retrograde of 2025. If you require a treatment plan or procedure, don't stress, but be sure to follow doctor's orders to the T. And ask lots of questions before the more you know, the more equipped. You'll be able to facilitate the healing process. When Mercury slips back into Scorpio on November 18th, your fifth house of passion, romance could emerge from unexpected places. But be on high alert for flatterers with a hidden agenda. Leo, it's easy to slip into fantasy, Leo, especially if you are feeling isolated or alone. But think twice before texting a long lost tender date or projecting a status like the one that got away onto a ghosting ex. While you will be drawn in and even have a promising exchange, know that this Mercury turns retrograde from November the 9th to the 29th. That alone will be enough of a warning flag, but the cautionary measures go double while Mercury backstrokes through Sagittarius, your fifth house of romance, until November the 18th. Even coupled Leos could be tempted. An old flame could slide into your DMs, or you might feel drawn to someone shiny and new. Once Mercury slips back into Scorpio for the rest of the reversal on November 18th in Scorpio, your domestic fourth house, you will find yourself reaching for trusty friends and supporters. Don't jeopardize reliable connection for unstable thrill, Leo. Virgo, people are often drawn to you like a moth to a flame. Your job is to not grant them all access passes too quickly. One major reason for this arrives November 9th when your ruler's social Mercury flips into its final retrograde of 2025. The first part of the backspin takes place in Sagittarius, your fourth house of home and family. Relatives may demand extra attention, and when Mercury slips into Scorpio, your third house of communication, on November 18th, so will your oldest friend. Warning, household and neighborhood drama could escalate under this transit. Clarify your conversation with relatives, roomies, co-workers, and nabs to keep cross wires to a minimum. Be extra transparent about your intention until the cross wire clear after November 29th. Part 1. for the following astrological signs